All right, we are live.
Hello. This is Punk Rock Libertarians Podcast, episode 320. I am Otto Dassing, and tonight I am joined with Jared Schneiderman.
What's up, guys?
Kyle Wagner.
Hey, everybody.
And James Babb.
Hello.
All right. Before we get started, I want to let you guys know about our Patreon. If you guys head over to our Patreon and you sign up for just as little as $1 a month, you can check out our After Hours podcast, which we record right after this one. We also have another website, PRL Fans. If you want to go there, if you don't feel like giving
PRLfans.com.
Oh, yeah, PRLfans.com. If you don't feel like using Patreon, you can donate to us in other ways there.
Yep.
It's true. The after show is way better than the regular show, right?
It tends to be that way. Yeah.
I mean, I feel sorry for people that only listen to this regular show. I mean, the people are saying like, oh, this is terrible. This is really shitty. Well, you need to kick in a buck and then you get the good show.
That's when Phil gets progressively drunk as we go on.
I do.
It's maximum drunk on the After Hours. So
I know. I start saying all sorts of racial slurs.
There's no holds barred. Hours.
I mean, no, that's not true. Yeah, I don't know. As we were doing the intro, my vape just spilled all over me. So
your vape?
Yeah, my fucking I pulled out the coil to it, and the thing just everywhere. So
could you like get like a super nicotine rush if you like absorbed it through your skin if it spilled in? Like
no, this is like
acid.
Really, no. See, I have the girly stuff. I have this stuff. It's called the mango milk. That's what I have, and there's no nicotine in it. And I got it for my birthday. So I figure once I go through this, I'll start getting the good stuff. But I love that.
So you're just like basically
rush.
Vaping like mango flavor, but it doesn't have nicotine.
No nicotine, just mango flavor. Just the girlier,
really?
the better. Yeah.
So you get all the lung popcorn damage, but without the nicotine.
Yeah.
Without the added alertness and benefits of nicotine, but all the deleterious effects. Okay.
Yeah, so my day's kind of gone that way. I got called a not a real libertarian, and so many words because I'm a big fan of Washington sports teams, and since most of the fans suckle off the teat of the government, I shouldn't be a Washington fan. So,
well, could you like other teams or other cities?
Apparently,
teams?
I could, just not Washington. Apparently.
Wait, so the reasoning is that a lot of the fans suckle off of the teat of the government?
Yeah.
But I mean, how many Redskins fans actually live in DC?
Whoa! Quit it with the R word, dude.
Oh yeah, how many?
Watch it.
How many football teams? How many? Yeah, dude, we promised you, and we are delivering.
Wait, so they did get rid of the racial slur part of their name, but they kept Washington. Jesus.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the offensive part they kept.
I'm triggered by when I hear Washington. I think of genocide and Trail of Tears and oppression and decades of enslavement,
Whiskey Rebellion.
Yeah. But yeah, so I because today Washington, it all started because I posted a meme, the dear sweet baby Jesus meme, where it was like, please let Washington beat Baltimore, or the Ravens, so I don't have to hear about it from trashy Baltimore fans for the next 4 years.
Yeah, what happened in that game, Phil?
They lost. Yeah, it's what they do. It's what they do best.
Wouldn't it be neat if people could take their tribalism and keep it safely contained in sports? Right.
I know.
Well, that's why I love that. Yeah, that's why I like sports, is because it should function as an outlet for that.
Like, screw you, Baltimore. Like,
right.
I'm in a different metropolitan area.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's a game like you play. It's like you're playing a game as a fan. Like, yeah, I know in reality that like none of it matters.
Yeah,
right. Exactly.
But it's just a fun thing to engage in. But unfortunately, we still have other forms of tribalism that go beyond that are super damaging to everyone's life, such as politics.
Like let's have a trade war with China. Let's nuke Iran. Like right. These kind of things. That's where it goes in the real world.
Right.
Yeah. Well, Philadelphia has a bad reputation.
Yeah.
Well,
yes.
For taking it too far. Like, it's not even safe to go to their football games with the opposing jersey on.
They throw snowballs at Santa. That's the shit they're famous for.
Yeah, that's Schlegel's team, man.
Yeah.
That's his boys.
But you can always count on them for some good looting after win or lose after a championship.
That's right. If you want to see some burning cars and but no,
and
I was asking you,
shit.
Phil. I was asking you. So the football team aren't. I mean, how many of their fans are actually in DC? I mean,
not a lot. I mean, there's a strong contingent. I mean, once they moved out of Washington, they moved to
Landover.
It was called Raujon, and then they changed it to Lanham. They gave it the Lanham zip code or whatever.
Was it Lanham or Landover?
Oh, Landover. Sorry, Lanham's like right next to it. That's where I live. That's where I grew up. Yeah. But so Landover. So that's what they call it now. But it was Raujon, and it's just the shittiest stadium. It's got the worst access. Dan Snyder's a terrible owner, so he won't. So there's no the nearest metro comes to it is like a mile away on purpose, so he can force people to pay like extravagant fees for parking in the stadium that was subsidized by the taxpayers of Maryland. And there's no highways.
Socialize the costs and privatize the rewards.
Profits.
Well, wait a second. Now, who owns that stadium? In a lot of cases, the city themselves own the stadium and they lease it to the teams.
I think it's it is PG County owns it.
All right. So I mean, he may or may not have chosen that location.
No, he didn't. He didn't. Jack Can Cook, the old owner, did. He did that as a middle finger because DC wasn't giving him what he wanted. So he was like, screw it, last minute, I'm just going to go throw a stadium over in Maryland because they'll pay. And they didn't care about where it was or was located. So it was just a terrible stadium, and everything about it's terrible. And I honestly, like, being like closer towards Baltimore is where we are. I get, for the past few years, the Ravens have lost to the Washington since I think the last time they beat them in the regular season was like 2008. And I haven't heard shit from Ravens fans, and I constantly get shit, constantly. So now I have a fear it's starting tomorrow, and I go into work, I'm going to start hearing it immediately.
Well, you said
it's just
yeah.
Huh?
I just always pictured Redskins fans as kind of like Steelers fans, where they're just like kind of everywhere, But
my grandfather had season tickets for Redskins like for decades and decades and decades. Yeah,
that's awesome. I mean, probably when it was at RFK, which is the better stadium, which is in DC. So once they left DC, a lot of like the locals fans, I mean, it's not like they gave up on him. It's just like lower on the radar, but there's a lot of big contingent of fans in Virginia as well as like Maryland. So it goes either way. But the closer you get to Baltimore, I can see it. The skyline of Baltimore, is like at the top of my street. I'm like a mile or so away from the line. So.
Yeah, it was a gorgeous day today. I didn't watch a whole lot of football, but I still did watch some TV, and I felt guilty about that because, I mean, you only get so many days where it's like 68 and sunny and
why weren't you with your girlfriend in Montana hiking? Dude, are you crazy?
Yeah,
dude,
it's not a long story, but I mean, I just have been very busy with work. And
next time you go, when the girlfriend's going on an epic hike to Montana, you go.
Am I right,
it was, guys?
It was a girl.
Quit your fucking job. You tell your boss to stick it up his ass, and you go.
I mean, it was a girls' trip, so it's 4 girls.
So you would fit right in.
None of them brought their boyfriends or husbands. So.
So they're all out fucking around. Oh man, that's like a bachelorette party out there. Oh man,
it's like a scissor fest.
Yeah, she does these kinds of trips, and I mean, we're supposed to go away later in October together.
That's cool, man. That's awesome. Where do you know? Like, so where exactly in Montana did they go? Do you know location wise?
I just know Glacier National Park, and that's
pretty big. So
which is very close to Babb, Montana, by the way, which was founded by my cousin Cyrus.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Wow.
Yeah,
because I've been looking at places to live in like Phillipsburg, Montana, which is in between Missoula and Butte. And that's like right next to this place called Anaconda Lake, and it's just gorgeous. It's so
is that
awesome.
Incredible out there or what?
I know.
Unbelievable.
How are the winters?
Pretty terrible.
Yeah.
Absolutely horrendous.
But you know what? You can just visit in the summer. No problem.
Yeah, that's what I'm probably going to do next year with my wife. We're probably going to try to go up there because it's someplace I've been following it for years. It's just a random ass town, but they got this kick-ass brewery. And it's got like this awesome Main Street like revival to it, and it just sits like perfectly right on along the it's about maybe like 20 minutes off the highway, but it's just right in between 2 major cities, full major out there, but it's like right by the mountains. It looks awesome. Yeah, I would have loved to do that, to go hiking up there.
Yeah, I was telling the story before the show, but they were supposed to be doing a 14-mile hike, which I thought alone sounded crazy. To me, that's a very long way. But it turned into an 18-mile hike, and she had 41,000 steps today, which, would be a personal record for me if that was my step counter. I don't think I've ever had that many. So
yeah,
they're going to be sore tomorrow.
Yeah, that sounds brutal. But yeah, well, at least I got called a fake libertarian right before I came on here. The reason I want to tell you that, because the guy who said I shouldn't be a fan of Washington, it's funny. He was a libertarian, but now he's moved to Colorado, and now he's apparently like a mainstream Democrat.
Okay. Well, and right, you're supposed to support that team that doesn't mooch off of tax victims, right? Which team was that? I
don't know. I'll get back to you when I think of it.
All right. What do we got next, Phil?
Well, currently I have crickets in my damn ear.
Dude, the president's got COVID.
Right?
Hell?
Yeah.
Right.
Fake news or legit?
Did you guys see his Twitter video? He's like, I wasn't feeling well, but I'm here at Walter Reed Hospital, and now everything seems to be, it's going to be okay. I'm like, I don't know, man.
Is it going to be okay?
Yeah. Wasn't Walter Reed that place that had that big scandal about mold on the wall and this horrible treatment of our veterans? And Walter Reed was right in the center of that shit.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's secure.
Well, I'm sure he gets the best room in the house.
Yeah, I'm sure
the one that doesn't have
getting is completely different than what the
veterans get.
Yeah.
Oh, no question.
Well, yeah, I'm sure. Well, they put him on some experimental treatment, which I find kind of bizarre.
Why would they put him on experimental treatment?
I don't know. I mean, it must be at some point of experimentation where they're pretty positive it's not going to just kill him, unless they're trying to kill him. I guess that's a conspiracy, but yeah, something called like Regeneron. Yeah, I think that's.
I thought it started with a D.
Now, did they do all their COVID tracing to find out like which prostitute gave it to him?
Apparently there's some type of talk that he had it on Wednesday after the debate and knew about it, or before the debate or something like that. I don't know. I saw there's some timeline someone posted. It's being shared by all the blue check marks on Twitter of where he was. And apparently he hid the fact that he was sick or wasn't feeling well. I don't know. I don't know to believe that or not, but dude, it's kind of crazy. I mean, to think that he has.
Well, this is interesting. So, yeah, he's taking an unapproved, antibody drug from a company called Regeneron, but he also happens to own stake in Regeneron.
Oh, this is perfect. So it's just basically trying to boost his own stock.
Yeah.
Now, finally, this makes some sense. I was trying to figure out what's the angle on this.
Now that's some 4D chess moves right there, man.
Well, let's see the stock.
It's a pump and dump for his pharmaceutical stock.
Yeah. Well, the stock jumped up on September 30th from 574 to 590.
That's not that big.
Which is not a huge jump, and then crashed back. Yeah. Well, not crashed, but went back down to 560. So didn't really work out for him.
Whether it works or not, at least this is the first narrative that actually seems to ring plausible, right? I mean, I guess it's also plausible that he actually got it because he's out there in the public a lot with a lot of old folks and everything, and it's plausible.
Well, he got it, and then allegedly, Hope Hicks, who was one of his aides, Mike Lee, Senator. Yeah, he's got AIDS. Mike Lee, that's what it really is. He doesn't have COVID. He's just got straight up AIDS. Mike Lee, the sort of, I guess he's pseudo-libertarian senator. He got it.
Mike Lee, I didn't hear that. Damn.
Yeah, Mike Lee. Chris Christie got it.
I did hear that. Yeah.
Which is
what a shame.
Which is oh no.
Well, he's so, I don't know if he's lost weight, but he was morbidly obese. So, I mean, this could be fatal to Chris Christie.
Well, my friend Keith pointed out the fact that Trump has it, but Biden doesn't. That tells us something. And what that tells us is that they have different sex slaves. So
yeah, they've got a different pedo farm that they go to.
Yeah, different adrenochrome dealers.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Oh man, that poor child who was screaming.
It's a good thing this is a comedy show. We can get away with this stuff, right?
Sure.
Okay, good.
Yeah, this is all parody.
Just checking.
Yeah, guys.
This is all parody.
Yeah, there's been a
I
lot of
Really
talk
hope for
about.
Trump's death.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about what the implications are going to be. What if he doesn't survive? What if he has to hand over power to Mike Pence?
My God.
What do they do if he can't continue in the race? If he gets really sick from this and can't continue, it's apparently too late to replace him on the ballot because a lot of the mail-in ballots have already gone out, or already been turned in. So I don't know. This could be crazy if his condition worsens.
I got a feeling he's going to be just fine.
I feel that way as well, but I think who knows how this adds to the drama, a plot twist this late in the game. Like it's really going to keep people on the edge of their seat wondering what's going to happen next.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see it helping him though, because he's not able to go out and campaign. But
maybe now what about
it could get sympathy, but I don't know.
What if this was after that last debate? I thought they'd probably come up with any kind of excuse they could to not have another debate from all parties involved, right?
Yeah.
Like, it would be pretty easy for both camps to be like, oh, we can't have a debate now because of this, right?
Yeah.
And everyone would be fine with that, right? But don't you think both camps, like the handlers on both sides, are going, oh my God, what if we have another debate? This will be
Well, it depends on how you look at, how what is the perception of this debate?
I think everyone was horrified, even the tribalists, of their own candidate's performance, weren't they?
I think so. I don't know. Everyone played, they kind of played it in their camp like, oh, we won. Like, what?
Right.
I don't think anybody won.
Yeah,
that,
but I don't think anyone was
No.
really proud of their candidate's performance, were they?
Some people are Charlie, like you see, like Charlie Kirk was going off for something about it. I saw like a post he made about it. But no, I heard a lot of people in the comment sections and stuff like that, just from each side. Like they're like, no, Biden won, no, Trump won. And it was just a shit show. It was just a complete shit show.
But
I don't know how else.
My impression overall was that this is the kind of event that makes people realize the whole democratic process is a sham, and to be ridiculed, laughed at, and mocked at every turn, and to stop acting like it's your sacred religion because it's a goddamn joke.
Yeah, and you know what? I think there was actually some of that. I was reading some article in one of the major mainstream things, and I guess they were having some sort of like, how they'll have a room where people will like screen TV shows. Well, they were doing that, but for the debate, and they asked all the people that they had involved in this study or whatever, and they basically said along the lines of like they've kind of lost faith in the process.
Bingo.
Yeah,
Which is good. So
which is great. Dude, I think that's awesome. But I really feel though that's short-lived until the next campaign cycle, or maybe till next week, next news cycle. Even that shit's out the window.
It's
People
very
like
minimal. You're right. Compared to what we're up against, it's like a drop in the bucket. But
sure.
I still think that it could.
It's a crack in the wall.
But if you were, let's just say you were one of their handlers, okay, or one of the people that relies upon the people's belief in the system and their participation, for the donations, for everything, to keep watching their TV shows, to pay, to be involved in this thing they do, right? Like if people want to drop out and tune out of that, right, they've got a lot to lose. So who knows what they would do just to maintain interest.
Yeah. I mean, there's a number of ways to kind of spin this whole thing, but
I just assume whatever they're telling us is not the case. I have no idea what's actually going on. I just figure what they tell us is a lie. So who knows?
It's usually a safe assumption, but
yeah.
One of my friends posted a meme that was sort of saying that, implying that the debate was more entertaining than a boring and polite debate would have been,
Oh, it was highly entertaining, I thought.
Oh yeah.
If you're looking for ratings and sort of a WWE kind of vibe, you got that a little bit.
So maybe that's a positive thing for those camps. If you look at it that way, of like, They're really interested.
The wrestling fan demographic.
Yeah, that's America.
Or just that kind of mentality of people want to see a street fight. They want to see a bum fight. It's probably more accurate, or a.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the debates are what, like, or the debates are really designed for, or at least the pretense is that they're for people that are on the fence, right? People are watching the debate. They're making their decisions based on the outcome of the debate. That's kind of at least the pretense of what's going on there.
Are people on the fence? I feel like
I'm just saying that's that's kind of the pretense,
already
right?
Deep in their camp.
But I'm saying that is the pretense. So if those people really do exist, yeah, I don't think they would very much have appreciated this debate, right? They'd be like, oh, they both look like
I was right to not pay attention to this to begin with.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, in that case, yeah, I mean, it would be a complete failure in the intent of a debate. But it's
Kyle,
never really a
friends
debate, right?
Telling you, are they getting pumped up for this election? Or are they horrified?
I would say I have friends on both sides of the fence, and they're very ardent Trump and Biden supporters. And no, they're not horrified by the bad manners, the interrupting, and all of that. They're not leaving their camp. I mean, I don't know what these people could do to make them not be supporters anymore, but it would have to be something pretty horrific. Like they're very entrenched.
Would have to get caught like raping a kid or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, weren't they caught raping kids?
Not, allegedly, but
sniffing kids on camera. I mean, yes, I don't know the rape thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't quite cross the line, but
I did have the thought, and I'll take it all back to I was reading Planned Chaos a while ago, which was a Mises book, and he's talking about the transition of power after Lenin died in Russia. It was a battle between Stalin and Trotsky to take over the leadership of the country. And he said they both tried to spin it as an ideological struggle, but they were actually just two competing men. It was actually a battle between two men, and ideologically they weren't that different. And I was reminded of that watching the debate. I was like, both of these guys are big government interventionists, right? Trump's not, it's not like Biden's, he might support Obamacare, and Trump's like, well, I don't support Obamacare, but it's like, well, what do you support? Some derivative of that, or something that's exactly the same thing. Like, you're not a free market guy. You're not a private property free market guy. So they're just two interventionists, right? And it's just a battle of two personalities. It's not a battle of ideas. And I know the libertarians want Joe Jorgensen on there, and that'd be nice. But that other perspective of limited government was definitely not represented on that stage.
It's not going to be invited.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, how do you think? Like, how do you think that would have gone if Joe was actually there? Like, she would have just been completely bowled over.
Yeah, she wouldn't have gotten a word out, probably, because Trump is so obnoxious he can't shut his mouth and let the other person get a sentence out.
She would have gotten the Ron Paul treatment. We saw how Ron was treated in the debates.
Yeah. 2 minutes out of 2 hours.
You'll get some sound bites and some zingers in, but you're going to really get your mic off most of the time.
And ironically, you say it because that was Chris Wallace who gave Ron Paul shit and was like, we should just be taking our foreign policy advice from Al Qaeda. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're suggesting? Remember that?
I remember one of those guys, one of those quote unquote impartial moderators having a question for Ron Paul. And it was something to the lines of, are you even electable? Or like something like just so rude and
dismissive
and partisan in the thing, and just so unashamedly.
Yeah, those guys they're not impartial. All the CNN and MSNBC and Fox, there's not one impartial person on all those news sites. So, to have them as moderators is kind of a joke.
It is a joke. But I hope people see it for the joke that it is, and, can at least laugh along with it.
It's not even a debate format, right? I mean, it's just,
no.
I mean, even in your more polite ones where they're actually answering questions or whatever, that's all it is. It's answering a question, maybe shooting a zinger across the podium, and
wrong.
It's not like an actual debate. It's not like,
wrong.
It's not like an actual the question of the debate or the topic of the debate is, should we be bombing the shit out of brown people. No, it's,
Yes, it's no Soho Forum debate.
It's not a Soho Forum.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like you listen to that, it's just so much more civilized and than what we got, but which also led for some good television. I mean, it was pretty funny. He was just like, "Don't ever use the word smart when referring to yourself. Don't ever do that." Fucking hilarious. He
had some good. He had some good fucking zingers, dude.
Dude, he was
who had the zingers? Trump did.
Trump.
Yeah.
Trump said he was like, I'm up here or whatever, and he's like, well, you shouldn't be. You almost lost. He's like, if Pocahontas didn't stay in the race to, you know what I mean, to split votes with Bernie, then you wouldn't be here. It was like, wow. He called her Pocahontas. This is like in the first 5 minutes of the debate, which was fucking hilarious. God damn, it made me laugh. There was points where I was like belly laughing. I'm like, holy fucking shit!
Why don't they couldn't they do like a Twitter-based debate somehow?
Who knows? Is Biden even on Twitter? Like himself?
Oh, I doubt it, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, I see these Biden ads in my YouTube feed now. So, and I don't know, whatever they're in like a lot, and they're so funny. They're a few seconds, but they're one of them. I swear to God, it's just like, what's the Biden plan got for you? And it just rings out like, oh, you're getting married, $15,000 towards a new house. Oh, you're a working person. It's gonna be this much for you. It just basically had a dollar figure for like 5 different groups of people about what you're gonna get.
Wow.
Like just a
straight up bribes.
Like this is your payment. Like what's in it for you? Like not even pretending any of this is anything more than buying votes.
Right. Phil, did you see that ad that came on during the Redskins game, the Ravens-Redskins game?
I almost threw my remote at the TV.
Dude.
So I haven't been seeing any of these political ads because I literally pay not to. I do the YouTube Premium or whatever.
I guess I'm subscribing just to shield myself, right?
Oh my God, it's awesome. So people keep telling me, they're like, "Oh, did you see that Biden ad?" I'm like, "Nope." But I saw the one today during Ravens game. I saw it with Washington, and it was I didn't know what it was at first, and it was just some soldier talking about the MRAPs and stuff like that, and then he said, "In the one man who I found out who gave us these MRAPs to save our American troops' lives from IED explosions was Joe Biden," and I was like.
All the MRAPs that are now sitting in police departments around America.
Right? What? Like, what? Like, I was like, what the fuck, dude? Like, I was so pissed. I was like, are you serious? I was like, this dude? Oh, my God. Oh, it drives me up the wall. Because he's like, and then he brings up his son. And I'm like, dude, you know your son? You know the one who died, Bo? Yeah. He probably died from the brain cancer that he got while being stationed right next to those burn pits. The one, in the war that you fucking voted for and fucking supported.
I like the commercial where they're trying to like salute like this super patriotic version of Biden. He sent his son to Iraq. Like what? Like,
like that's not virtuous. That's not virtuous. Sending your fucking kid to go die overseas, and he comes back and dies. He gets fucking brain cancer from that shit. Like it's so
they are so desperate though to just cling to this mythology and this kind of ideology and just they're just so pandering and unashamedly. It's just horrifying.
It's like statism, like off the rails. I cannot stand it when I see them trying to say, well, I support the troops more and I support it more.
Dude,
I saved this guy with MRAPs. Oh, but you killed how many Iraqis and civilians did he murder? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.
Dude, I honestly could not believe that fucking. I mean, I was like, you really? Like,
I'm so glad you brought that up.
Do people just not know about this shit?
It was such a it was like a very like I said, I had no clue what I was watching. I'm like, what is this guy talking? Like, where's this going? And as soon as he said Joe Biden, I'm like, no. Like, oh my God. I wanted to throw something.
I thought it was just gonna be like, oh, the few, the proud, the Marines or some shit. And then
right,
fucking Joe Biden with
bullshit.
Joe fucking douchebag with his douchebag sunglasses, just like handed over.
I mean, are people being influenced by this? I mean, am I supposed to assume that these campaigns are being successful?
I have no idea, man. I mean, there's definitely a lot of bootlickers that love football, but like they're probably already voting for Trump, dude. Like
it's
they're
a cumulative thing.
That was a football specific ad that you were talking about.
They only show this shit during like football games.
Yeah.
I mean, it had no reference to football, but you just know like this is, because they do the flyovers and they do all the fucking Marine and army ads during the football games. It's fucking heinous, but I guess it works.
To think now they're fighting over who is more of a war hawk to get votes, it just drives me up the wall. I was like, oh my God, I was so mad. And I think it ended up with us just like, I know God, what was the phrase? I forget. I'm so glad you brought it, but I completely forget like the phrase he says at the end of the ad. I don't remember the
phrase. I just remember I'm just like, really? MRAPs? You're bragging about MRAPs? Yeah. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like,
oh God.
How is this real?
It's subliminal. It's subliminal. It's all just a cumulative thing. Forget people like, wow, yeah, he saves troop lives, and he's not that bad of a guy. I see him sniffing, 7-year-olds and like almost, nose humping them and stuff. But that, no, he gave MRAPs to soldiers.
Rubbing his legs.
Don't even worry about those rape accusations either.
Oh yeah, what happened to those, dude?
Yeah, don't ignore that.
Did Trump bring those up at all?
No, he didn't bring up any of that.
Isn't it true that Kamala Harris had attacked Biden and was said like she believed these accusations were credible back when they were competitors?
He could have said any of that. Trump could have said any of that shit, and he didn't. He didn't defend himself when it came to the bullshit Russia.
Well, I'm sure his Biden's own vice president acknowledged that these were credible rape allegations.
Right. She did. But he didn't. Trump did not pounce on that. He was not prepped.
Well, you know what? You're in a glass house.
That is true.
Yeah,
that is true. So there's very little. But he could have said stuff about the Russian hoax.
Look, Biden could have had like 6 Stormy Daniels jokes lined up. Okay. Shit could have been gold. Okay. Like he could have been grabbing it by the pussy. He could have been he could have gone for Trump's soft spots.
I know. Instead, they keep bringing up why is Biden just like keep bringing up this bullshit thing that happened in Charlottesville? Like, why is that a thing? Like that really bothers me. He's like, that was my motivation for joining the race was because of Charlottesville and Donald Trump's well,
the Democrats have to have a strong grassroots movement to do all their get out the vote thing. They've got to appease that whole movement. Like if you at any of these events, you find like they go to there to collect canvassers and like pamphleteers and stuff. Like I was at one event, one of the early events in Philly, and they were it was an anti-war thing. They were like, they were going to bomb Iran or something. And this left it was a big left thing, anti-war thing. All the Bernie Sanders people were out there like, hey, can you volunteer for Bernie? Can you volunteer for Bernie? Can you volunteer for Bernie? Can you despite the fact that Bernie's a warmonger, that, this is the people that do the work for them. So they got to stroke Black Lives Matter. They got to stroke the Antifa angle. They got to stroke all of that stuff. At the same time, they're getting the money from the police unions, and they're telling the police unions, don't worry, we got your back like we always do. Right. And they're like, all right.
Right.
And nobody and it works for everybody. Right.
What was the whole thing with the Proud Boys? I kind of missed that. Where he was like stand up and stand down or something.
No, it was literally okay. So Trump, this is where Trump was at. He was like, I don't care. I'll denounce anything. Tell me, denounce it, and I'll denounce it, and I'll, just give me a word. Who are we talking about? He was like, and all of a sudden, like Joe Biden goes, Proud Boys. Like he just said, he's like, this is all you. He's like, okay, Proud Boys. And he's telling them to like stand down and
stand by,
stand. Like he was just like, I don't like. What do you want me to say? Is like stand down, stand by, stand back. I don't fucking know. Like that's exactly what he was saying. And anyone's disingenuous, like, oh, he was giving a military order because he's the commander in chief. So he was giving them a military order to stand by to attack people. Like that's the logic of these fucking idiots.
Isn't the whole Proud Boys thing Donald just Trump's wasn't that just basically like a trolling operation, and then it just like grew from there?
It's a trolling / LARPing operation.
And Trump's a moron and can't speak right. Like, how about that? How about Trump's a moron and can't speak right and couldn't? He's just like me. I've been there. How many times do I screw up words on a podcast? I can't think. I get words jumbled in my head. So I'm like, I don't know. Stand back, stand by, whatever the fuck I'm.
Do you think Trump was on some kind of like amphetamine or something?
No. Biden was on amphetamine. Have you seen his bugged out eyes? he was he did a line of something, or he took a pill.
He looked like he was like squinting the whole time, just like staring into the fucking sun. Like
his eyes just get like this, and he's just
probably it surgically implanted a teleprompter into his eye or something.
Dude, it looked like he was reading a teleprompter. Yeah, it looked exactly like that, dude. Oh, like, dude, what is he fucking staring at?
It was so fucking funny because he was like, he told Trump, "Oh, shut up, man," or somebody told this man to shut up, and someone made it into a meme, and it was just like, I can't hear what they're trying to tell me in my earpiece. Apparently, there's like pictures of like he's got like a wire, like you can see it like on his sleeve, on his jacket. I don't know how legit those are, but it wouldn't.
There's always those. The red circle pics.
He wasn't going to consent to that. I saw a thing right before the debate saying he would not consent to an earpiece check. Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if that's real or not. Whatever, dude. It was such bullshit. Like, at least I didn't fill up with blood.
They ought to do like different like components of this thing. There ought to have been like, we're gonna do like a boxing round, and then we're gonna do, like arm wrestling, right?
Beer pong game,
right? Or we're gonna do or like a freestyle rap contest, or like just to mix it up for the fans, right? Like,
what if they had like a private only? Like, what if they had like a Patreon set up and there's like, yeah, you guys subscribe to hear like our premium debate.
Premium debate.
Shit, man, that's a good way to make money, man.
Yeah, adult content.
You give it another 20 years, they'll have that stuff. We're on the right trajectory,
Like, think about it. Joe Rogan, he wanted to do that. He wanted to have those two sit down and do like the whole 3-hour debate thing. Just like
I was gonna say that would be way cooler to watch, honestly.
Fuck yeah.
And honestly, probably more productive for their ends if they were on Joe Rogan, where you actually have someone that's like, not for their ends per se, but like for like the end of the pretense that I was talking about before, having Rogan there to be like, Trump, shut the fuck up, dude. Like,
yeah, but Joe Biden would never do that. He's way too scripted. He would not be able to sit down for that long.
No, of course, it will never ever happen.
Do you think he got the questions in advance?
They all did. They all do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I would say this. I mean, we saw with Hillary Clinton, with Brashear, whatever that woman, she gave the question. Brazil. I'm thinking Donnie Brashear.
Yeah, it all came out in the open.
Hockey players
were like feeding it. Now, do they both get it or just their favorite side?
Favorite side. You know it, dude. That's what happened in 2016 in those debates. It's their buddies, and Chris Wallace is a fucking piece of shit. So I'm sure he gave it to Biden.
Well, it did seem like he was biased, I thought, against Trump. I mean, he tried to get him with that, like, are you willing to condemn white nationalism or something like that? That was kind of like an attempt of a gotcha question, I thought.
Oh, yeah.
But I did become curious about the Proud Boys because a lot of people were talking about them, and I was like, so what is the deal with this group? Is this a white nationalist group? Because I was seeing a lot of memes about like their current leader is like a Cuban or something like that.
Well, people say they can't be racist. They've got minorities. They're collectivist as fuck, but not necessarily racist. They're Western. West is best is their slogan. So they're like, we're not ashamed that the West has built civilization in the world, and Western culture is better than anybody else. It's kind of like that tribalism on a like, let's just crack the earth down a longitudinal line and have teams.
So who does that mean? They're pro Europe and pro North America and against Asia and Russia? Is that sort of how they draw the line?
And I think it's more Middle East. All of that is the
Latin America, South America.
Anything it's
basically like traditionalisalism. They're
and it just sort of happens to coincide with brown skin areas. I don't know if that's
yeah.
But no, they're not racist specifically.
Gavin McInnes shoved a dildo up his ass on camera. Like, this is their leader.
And
this was the guy who founded.
And that's to prove that he's not homophobic, I'm told.
Right.
And which doesn't even make any sense anyway. Like,
it's a joke. It's a joke. They
exactly. The fact that this joke has risen to the presidential level is
he went too far.
Gavin McInnes was also one of the original founders of Vice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, like, it kind of, it goes to show this. It's all just circus, right? I mean,
It
these Proud Boys and then the Antifa guys, they go out in like the streets of Portland and they fight each other, and then they go home, and then they fight each other next weekend, and then they go
These
home.
guys
Like,
need a pay-per-view channel and an arena.
yeah. Well, yeah, someone just needs to start a YouTube channel. Well, I guess there's already some out there, but
I
let's
think
just give
the
them a
hatred
safe
is
place.
real.
Why do they have to do this in the streets where people are trying to go about their business? Like, let's give them a safe place where like everybody can go,
safe space,
and
Canada.
they can do whatever they want to each other,
like the ocean, somewhere in the middle of the ocean,
Canadian safe spaces.
a barge in the Pacific somewhere.
Do you guys? I think the hatred
Thunderdome.
is real. Like Antifa really thinks the Proud Boys are fascists.
It's real, but it's also like, I don't know. It's real, but it's not. It's real, but it's also just play acting in the street.
Right. And they're just there to like fuck shit up.
Like
They're
Fight,
there to,
it's like Fight Club, you know?
Right.
It's like
Yeah,
Fight
it's
Club.
like-
You're just there
yeah.
because you're an angsty 20-something and you got nothing else to do. So you go out in the street and you battle a bunch of people wearing costumes, and then
you're not allowed to masturbate, so you got to fight.
You're not allowed to masturbate?
Is that a
Yeah,
Proud
apparently
Boys
Proud
thing?
Boys. That was a Gavin McGinnis like
Edict?
rule of the Proud Boys. Yeah, no
Wow.
masturbating. So now they want to fight.
Did you
Yeah,
guys
I mean,
ever listen
They're not
to the
getting
song?
laid, so
Apparently, the song is from an Aladdin musical. I think it's Aladdin. It's from a musical. You
What?
should look
There's
it up
a-
on
what
YouTube.
song?
They
What
have
are
a
you
What is it
talking
called?
about?
It's called Proud Boys. It's about being a proud boy. It's like
It's from
dude,
Aladdin.
you gotta listen to it. It's from
What?
it's from a musical.
Oh,
and there's this
dude.
song where this guy, I think it's Aladdin, is like, I'm a proud boy or something. It's
See,
hilarious.
again, I
Sing
think
it, Kyle.
more proof that they're not homophobic.
But they're proud. They want to be proud to be Western. They don't want to be guilt tripped about being, I guess. I thought it'd be more American than Western. Western is so broad that's weird to.
well, they
embrace that.
associate. Well, they cherry pick and associate certain ideals from Western, culture. I guess so.
Because
It's like
American doesn't mean American Indian.
Yeah.
American doesn't mean Mexican American. It doesn't mean, right. It means white Europeans. I mean, that's just what it means. So
Yeah. I just thought it was weird to extend beyond nationalism, because nationalism is very common. And if they were just nationalists,
that's what I'm saying.
I'd
It's
be
not.
like,
It's not like they're like, oh, England is great. Like, I'm sure they hate the way England is right now, right? But it's basically just like traditionalism. It's like, a nuclear family, men being the head of the household, that sort of shit. Like 1950s society shit is what they're trying. That's what they sort of hold up as the ideal. When in reality, I mean, Western civilization has done. I mean, it's just like any other civilization, any other culture, anything else. It's not even like homogenous like that.
right. It's such a broad term that it's
Yeah.
even impossible to use it in any meaningful way.
Right. Exactly.
For sure. But I mean, that's their bit. And apparently like they're like the worst people in the world. Like they're the new brown shirt Nazis. It's such a weird thing how like and do you guys see that what was it? Biden put out this thing on Twitter or Facebook where he called Kyle Rittenhouse like a white supremacist or something like that.
I
Did
saw
you guys
that.
see that?
He's getting
Yeah.
sued for it.
Right. Yeah, he's getting sued.
Nice. Does he have the same lawyer that the MAGA kid had? The
I think
Sandman.
so.
Sandman.
Oh, that's the lawyer I'd
Mr.
want.
Sandman.
That lawyer's getting he's in high demand.
Dude, yeah. We need to get him for fucking what's his name? Silk Road guy. Drawing a blank.
Oh, interesting. Ross Ulbricht.
Ross.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
Ross. Yeah, we need to get him for Ross somehow. Maybe he'll work
Dang,
some
I wonder.
magic.
I mean, I don't know what he could do as a lawyer at this stage of the game.
Yeah, I guess that's
but
right.
He might know the people that need to get bribed or whatever.
Yeah, he might.
Right. But yeah, so I can't believe like how stupid after this whole Sandman thing, how dumb are you to put something like that online? I saw like his mom responded to it and was like, yeah, we're taking you to court. And, like that's despicable. Like we're
Yeah.
taking you straight to court and they'll win.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy, man. I just in this day and age, like how could you be that stupid and insulated?
But yeah, but maybe he did the cost benefit analysis and was like, whatever. We've got millions of dollars in the coffers. We can pay this off. Better to, stoke up the fear and motivate people to come out and vote.
It's just part of the advertising budget at this point.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. All right. What else we got here? Let's see. What about this $27 trillion? What's going on with that? Kyle.
Yeah, it's new milestone.
As the statist, own up, buddy.
Yeah, it's a new milestone. I guess as of yesterday or the day before, the government hit 27 trillion. So we did try to look up the history. It was about 20 trillion when Obama left office. So Trump has added 7 trillion. 4 trillion of it was was COVID related due to the bailouts, the stimulus money that they've given out, the enhanced unemployment benefits, and all of that.
But there's always bailouts and stimulus.
Yeah.
Every presidency. So
yeah,
we had the banker bailouts and all that. Big crisis, and previously. So
Obama added, I think, 9 trillion. So if Trump's done 7 trillion, now Obama's was over 8 years. Trump's is now over, just a little under 4. So he's definitely going to be on pace. If he wins, he's going to be, he'll beat Obama as far as debt, and which is kind of funny because he was always very critical of Obama and his irresponsible spending when he was campaigning. But I think obviously he's been horrible on spending.
Well, when it's your checkbook, let it flow. Who cares, right?
Yeah.
Art of the deal. If you have somebody that gives you free money and you can make deals with it, do it.
and where are the fiscal conservatives on this, right? What happened to the portion of the conservative movement that used to give a shit about deficits and debt? They're quiet.
The Tea
right?
Party?
Yeah, the Tea Party's dead.
Yeah, they're hanging out with those anti-war Democrats.
The dead and gone. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. They're all hanging out together, same spot.
With Epstein.
All 6 of them, right?
Epstein's Island.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a Republican getting elected as president has really been the worst possible thing for fiscal conservatism, because they're like, well, he's our guy, so we can't criticize him, even though he's terrible on spending.
This doesn't take into account quantitative easing or any Fed monetary policy either, right? I mean.
No, because
or inflation just in general, right?
The Treasury's issuing that debt, and then the Fed is out there in the open market. The Fed's out there buying it from Goldman Sachs and J.P. Morgan. So they buy the Treasury debt from the Treasury. As I understand it, the Fed doesn't buy it direct. They go through the big banks. So those guys take a big cut as it passes the debt on to the Federal Reserve, who of course creates the money to buy it, and that's how our financial system works.
How do you statists feel about that?
I mean, I don't feel good about it at all. I support sound money. I guess I've weakened a little bit on the gold standard. I think with Bitcoin coming out and things like that. I think maybe there are other options, but certainly not just a monopoly on money that the government can create as much as they want and just spend unlimited amounts.
So you would abolish legal tender laws?
I think so. Yeah.
You sound like an anarchist now, Kyle.
I mean, that's not anarchy. It's just
it is.
It's just a different idea for what the law should be.
Well, I mean, Mises was a fan of that, and he was a statist. Same thing with Ron Paul.
Yeah, I mean, Mises, I would say was. I mean, in as much as he supported
a
a
step
state
towards anarchy, if you don't have a state currency, I mean, that's kind of the one ring that binds them all. So if you're willing to let that go,
it's not. I mean, I think like Larkin says, the belief in authority is sort of the binding.
True.
So
very true.
I mean, I don't disagree with him on that point, but yeah, I don't know. I think I thought that the whole thing was going to collapse, right? Ron Paul was talking about it in 2015, doing infomercials saying we were going to face the biggest financial crisis of our lives, and that has not happened. I mean, realistically, it has not happened. Gas prices they went back under $2. I don't know. We have not had hyperinflation. We've had just sort of the normal inflation, and
I think I think we've had the benefit of the dawning of the computer age and these leaps in productivity, in factory automation, in agricultural efficiency. We've seen some enormous productivity gains that have been basically eaten up, right? Like eaten up by all of this theft, right? It's like we're doing as good as we are in spite of it, but we could be so much farther ahead. I mean, it's not to say that it's not damaging us severely.
Yeah, it's kind of like
grounds.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like they've inflated the bubble, but then the fundamentals kind of have caught up, right? You know, that's what happens in the stock market is sometimes things will get overpriced, but then eventually, you know, the fundamentals stay strong and it catches up. I'm not saying the fundamentals of our economy per se, but like the fundamentals in as much as Babs was talking about with actual like people on the ground inventing things and innovating and whatnot. But yeah, we could be way further along if we're not for, you know, the predatory state.
Well, the stock prices are way up, you know, I mean, so there is signs of inflation. I don't know if the money is going, the money the Fed is creating is just going overseas. Is there international demand for the dollar and in all these countries that have weak currencies that they actually want dollars? I don't know.
I don't think so. I think everyone's I know China's buying up a lot of gold. Russia's buying up a lot of gold. People are just trying to move the dollar's too shaky, especially after now what they're trying to pass another bailout, another several $1 trillion bailout. Apparently, they were trying to do that, but I think they left Congress. The Democrats left because they know they wouldn't get through or something like that. So they just retired for the October session or whatever, something like that. I just read.
Yeah.
I mean, the dollar it's on shaky ground. So I mean, we can keep stacking things up and inflating this bubble, but eventually it's gonna pop. And I mean,
that's what they've been telling us for a long time now, and I think that's Kyle's point. It's like, you know, it's like they keep saying it.
When's it going to happen?
And it's like mathematically, it seems intuitive that this can't go on forever, but eventually these productivity leaps might not be able to continue. You know, like kind of like the end of Moore's law. Like eventually, you hit the quantum limits of the material,
right? And
you can no longer make up these gains. Eventually, you know, the parasite can kill the host if it's too strong. But I think they're pretty good at what they do, and I think they figured out that people will tolerate 3, 4, 5% inflation a year and consider that normal. They can send out guys to tell them that's healthy. They can tell them the deflation would be bad. They could tell you they can sort of like just nobody's going to panic over 3 to 5% inflation. Which is harvesting 3 to 5% of the dollar value like every year, right? But people are like, all right, we'll handle that level of parasitism. Why would you want to upset that if you're the parasite? So they've got some dials. They're like, all right.
Well, it's just amazing. The creditors are not panicking, you know, like 27 trillion in debt. You're running, $3 trillion deficits with no end in sight. It's like, why would you have faith in this currency? And yet people have faith, in it, and people still buy the debt and interest rates are at record lows. It's just, to me, it doesn't make sense. So maybe there's things I don't understand.
Or there will be a reckoning, and it's just a matter of being able to predict the timing. It might be another generation, or it might be next year. Who knows?
Yeah, I guess we'll find that out. I think we should wrap this up now, Phil, and get over onto the after hours.
Right. Yeah. So if you guys want to check out we got t-shirts for sale over at libertariancountry.com. And if you use the promo code, like the one I'm wearing right now, if you guys see it.
Also this one, Ron Paul.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Love that shirt. For the people listening, that is Ron Paul's, truth. What is that? Truth is Treason and the Empire of Lies.
Yep.
That's an awesome shirt. But so if you head over to libertariancountry.com and use the code PRL or PRL Podcast, you get a 10% discount. But if you spend over $50, you can use the code PRL2, and that'll give you a 20% discount. So also, this podcast is brought to you by Conversations About Freedom with Moral Bob. And I guess until next time.
Say it.
Wait, you say it.
No, you say live free.
Shit, I do say it. Live free or die.